This program is a vowel replacer, and how it works is it gets user input. Let's say it's one word. It pulls the letters apart one letter at a time, runs each letter through a filter. The filter in this case is the letter a vowel? If the letter is a vowel, it's going to change. If it's a consonant, it's going to fall through the filter. And then the output is those letters get strung back together into the word. So the result is that the output can be different to the input. Let me show you how this works in practice. So if I type in apple as my input, you can see A has changed to 4 and E has changed to 3. So those vowels have been changed to similar looking numbers. Similarly in Python, if I did something longer like instantly it's come back with the affected changes. And in JavaScript, if I just put in something simple, we can see how this works. So this is a key learning this program because it shows you that data comes in, data gets manipulated through conditions or filters, and then the output is strung back together. There's many applications that you can build from this. So I'm going to take my time with this and show you step by step what happens to the data through the loops, why it works. So let's have a look in Scratch first. And the first step in Scratch is to build these variables. We've got one called word, which is going to be the user's input, output of word, which is going to be the end result. The increment is going to help us loop through each letter of the word. Then we get the user input. We've got that built-in variable answer, and we're going to assign that variable word to the user input. So let's just see what happens if I type in apple at this point. At the moment, the built-in variable called answer populates with the user input, and we store that in our word variable so that we can do something with it. Okay, so before we get into our loops, let's just look at getting some output. So we're setting this empty string output to the current value of output plus letter increment, which is 1 of word. So then if we look at our output at this point of output word, if we type in apple, I would reasonably expect that our output is going to be A. So we can see that our output is A, and he said it here. Output is A. We can see it's populated in there. So whether that was first letter, second letter, third letter, fourth letter, or fifth letter, if we do this, we should get E. So there's a few things here. We don't know how long the user's word is going to be, so we need to make that flexible to be whatever the word length is part of the program. And also, we don't want to have to manually go first letter, second letter, third letter, fourth letter, fifth letter. So we're going to set up a loop that's going to run until a certain point. And that point is going to be how long is the user's word. If the user puts in a 10-letter word, well then that increment is going to go from 1 through to 10. So let's build this up and see how this works. Okay, so we're going to use a loop here, and it's going to repeat for as long as the length of word. So what is the length of word? Well, at the moment, the length of word is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I click on this, I get 5. If word was something longer, and I click on it now, I'm going to get 10 letters. So that helps us work out how long do we loop for. Because in programs, particularly like Python, when you get more than the word, if it was a 5-letter word and you kept on looping after that, your program will crash. So you need to tell it when to stop. So that's how long our loop is going to run for. And the condition is going to be if letter 1 of word is A, then change it to 4. If letter 2 of word is A, change it to 4. If letter 3 of A, so that's just going to loop for the length of word. And we're going to set output, exactly like we've done here, set output to the current value of output plus 4 instead of the letter from word. And the other part that we need to do is have an else statement. So if the letter is not an A, it's just going to go through and add it. And then we need to change this increment from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, however long the word is. So at the moment, only A will change. So if letter 1 of word was A, which it was, set output to the current value of output, which is nothing, plus 4. And then change this to 1. Letter 2 of word is A, which it wasn't, so it ignored that and came down to here and said add the second letter, which is P, then the third letter, which is P, then the fourth letter, which is L, and the fifth letter, which is E, and then it broke out of the loop, and it now outputs apple in the manner that we are hoping for. So now that we've got A working, we want to add E. So we can just duplicate the block. The key point though is that this condition for consonants, if it's not a vowel, has to always be at the end. So now we can try using apple still. We should get 4PPL3. You can see that is working. So now it's just a matter of repeating for I, O, and U. And as long as our condition for the else, if it's not a vowel, as long as that's there, and as long as the increment is inside the loop, our program will work. Okay, so Scratch is working even on a 25 letter input. Let's move over to Python now. So here's the Python code in full, just a quick look at it. The 3 variables: user input, the length of the loop. We're going to do a for loop, and if the first letter of the user input of word is A, change it to 4, if it's E, 3, and so forth. And then it increments again. If the second letter, blah, 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 blah. Third letter, fourth letter, fifth letter. Otherwise, if it's none of those, then output is going to equal the current value of output plus a letter from word, and then it's going to string them back together. So I'm going to get rid of this now and build it from the ground up so we can see how this works and do some testing along the way. First step is to establish our 3 values, and we might just print out these values so we can see how they change throughout the program. So just towards the end here. So next step is getting user input and storing that in that variable called word. So if I put in apple, we have user input is apple, user output is nothing. So now we want to build our output. We want our output of word, the variable is the current value of output of word plus the first letter of word. So let's see if this is working. Apple. So we can see the user output, which is all we're really interested in, is the first letter of apple. If I made this 5, okay, too much because it's a text-based program. So apple 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's why the 5 was out of range. So now, instead of manually typing 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I want to put in something dynamic there that will change. So I want to put in what is the length of the user input. So I'll create another variable called length, and I'm storing in there the how many letters this is, and I'm also just going to print the value of that variable concatenate it with a comma. So the length of apple is 5. There's 5 letters in it. Okay, if it was university, it would be 10. Okay, so that will help us to set up our loop. Now I want the output of word to be dynamic inside of the loop. So for, instead of I in range, we can call that variable part anything. So this is a variable in range from 0 to the length of the user input. As long as I indent here, if the letter of the word, whether it's the first or the last letter of word, if it is A, then do something. So the thing we want to do is have our output to be the current value of output plus a string version of 4. So I can test this now. So if I type in apple, I'm expecting, okay, it's not word length, it's word increment. My bad. Apologize for that. So let's look at our, so that's 5, yes. The input word is apple, yes. The output, which we're really interested in, is 4-pul. That's good, the A is changed to a 4. And it's incremented 4 times. Okay, so now I can do E. Else if any letter in the user input word is E, well then replace that with the number, a string version of the number 3 and concatenate it into the output. So using apple again, I can see that that is working how I had hoped. So now I'm going to put in if I, change it to 1. If O, change it to 0. If U, change it to this symbol, which is Shift key, and above enter, you've got that vertical line, underscore, and vertical line again. Okay, so now I'm no longer interested in those testings. And you can see the output is different to the input in the manner that we had hoped. So just a quick refresher, our 3 variables. User input stored in one of those variables. We get the length of the user input. We set up a for loop. And we're basically saying for as long as, for each letter in the word, if the one letter is an A, we change it to a 4, an E, a 3, and so on. Otherwise, if it's a consonant, it can just fall through and build back up the word together. So we don't need that either. And so I'm satisfied that our Python program works as we had hoped. Now let's look at JavaScript. Same logic, 3 variables. Get the user input, store it in one of those variables called word, get the length of the user input, a for loop. Give increment a value, which it already has here anyway. Give it a condition, as long as this increment is less than word length. So when it's 0, and the word length is 5, this code will run, and then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. When it's not less than 5, then it'll break out of the for loop. And we're incrementing the plus plus. Otherwise we'll be stuck in a forever loop and you'll never meet that condition. So if word 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is equal to A, our output is going to be the current value of output plus a string version of 4. And that goes all the way through. Otherwise though, if it's not a vowel, just let the letter go from the input into the output, piece them back together and output them. So now that we've had a look at the code, let's build this one together. I'm going to take off everything except for those variables. Next step is to get user input, store it in that variable there. Now we know we're going to need the length property, so we might as well do that while we're here. Let's do the output. and print the output as well. So we can print the output. Let's print like we did with Python. Let's print all of these out variables so that we can track them as the program builds. Run our program at this point. With Apple, we've got some information here that our user input is Apple, our output is A, just the first, because the increment is 0 at this point. If the increment was 4, well, then our output is E. So we can see that we manually can do it, but we need the loop to do that work for us. This part of building the user output, when it's a consonant, is going to be our else condition. So our for loop, we've got 3 parts. We've established the value of increment, it's still 0. We've put a condition that this loop runs until this increment is less than the word length. So if the word was 10, this would go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, then it would break out. And this is the part that makes it go from 0 through to the end. Without that, you would be stuck in an infinite loop. So now we need some curly braces to contain all this code. So let's just get the letter A working. So if word 0 place was A, then change it to a 4. And then it's going to go through this. Increment will change to 1, so word 1, which is going to be P, and then it'll increment again, P again. It's still less than the word length, and then L will be ignored like the P was into here. E will also be ignored. It's either this one or that one. If it's not a vowel, well, in this case if it's not A, it's going to go to here, and it's just going to piece everything back together. So if we now run our program, our output has changed the A to a 4. So now, like we've done before, we can do E, else if the word increment is E, change it to a 3. That's working fine. And our part here that uses the consonants, we'll keep that for the end. Add in the rest of the vowels. So that is working, and I just want to now get rid of the testing that we had here. So this is working fine. We could neaten this up. And just for a quick bit of a revision, we had our 3 variables, we got the user input and we got the length of the user input. We set up a for loop. Our 3 parts, initialize the variable with a value, put in a condition of when the loop stops and whether we're incrementing or decrementing. Now if the word letter place is A, change it to 4, E to 3, and so forth. It will increment all the way through until the length of the word is finished. Or otherwise, if it's not a vowel and it's another letter, this part will happen, and essentially our output is built back 1 letter at a time from the output, and then there's our finished output. So I hope you can see that this program is really quite useful for being able to get an idea on how input can be manipulated to change the output, and depending on certain codes and filters and conditions that you've written. There's plenty of places you could go from here. Cryptography, there's just a lot of useful applications. So dig into this lesson and get it until you understand it. So take your time with your students with this one, and just do 1 letter at a time, like we did Apple. Just get A working, then get E working, and then I and O and U.